Yesterday, for the sake of research for Roaring Spring, I used more examples from Switzerland, and I landed at the town of Osterberg in the Waale. And I got a comment from a Swiss man, a good friend of mine, Facebook friend, but he's Swiss, although he lives in the United States. It's a long story. He's American, but he's Swiss. And he and his partner John, they travel to Switzerland usually once a year, and he's on this Facebook group. He was one of the first ones to join. And anyway, all this talk about Switzerland, he's been following because he knows Switzerland so well. And I'm going to address that in the next video. I think he asked about Osterberg and stuff, and of course Roaring Spring. But anyway, what I want to do is give you, emphasize a key word that I think I mentioned, B-I-S-S-E, bis, plural is Bisses. Here is a book about it. It's in English. It's called The Bisses of Waale. I think you could probably buy this book still. I think it's in print, not sure. And here's another book in French now about Au pays des Bisses, in the land of the Bisses. Both of those deal with that subject. And Bisses, ever since I discovered them, have just been, you might say, a fetish of mine, a fascination worldwide. Because although that part of Switzerland has probably the best collection of them, I mean, a couple thousand kilometers of Bisses, but they're all over the world. Pakistan, China, Spain, Portugal, Peru, the Tyrol. They go by other names. Suonen, I mentioned that. In Spanish, acequias, A-C-E-Q-U-I-A-S, acequias. In Portuguese, they're called levadas, L-E-V-A-D-A-S, levadas. And in the Tyrol, they're called Waale, W-A-A-L-E, that's plural, W-A-A-L-E, Waale. And actually, they could be very useful to Roaring Spring, not the Bur, because the Bur is too tightly packed with buildings. It would just be impossible to run a bis through the Bur. It all has to be done underground. But in the township, all around Roaring Spring, oh yeah, they would make absolutely lovely hiking paths. And what a bis is, see, since that part of Switzerland is dry and doesn't rain much, where do they get their water? Well, from the Bisses. Where does that water come from? The glaciers, as they melt in the summer. So the hotter the summer gets, the more water they have for their fields, because it's meltwater from the glaciers. Now, it's a real problem with those glaciers receding like they're doing with global warming, because that water supply could dry up, and worse yet, I mean, the Rhine River, more so than the Rhone, I mean, it supplies Europe with water, and it's coming out of the Alps. But anyway, at a local level, a bis is simply a weir in a natural drain. Not a dam, a weir. A dam is made to impound water. A weir just diverts it. And the weir diverts the water from the natural drain and runs it out into a field or onto a hillside. And sometimes the Swiss will take that, and there it runs almost perfectly on a contour. And the Swiss have gone to unbelievable difficulties to keep that water high enough to reach their villages, to not let it drop, or to reach their fields. And so along a bis, you've got an almost perfectly level walking path where the maître de bis, the master of the bis, would walk along to make sure the water kept flowing. Well, on my YouTube channel, if you would go there and type in search Bisses, you would see so many videos about this subject. But in Roaring Spring, you could start that process Well, you could run it along 3 creeks that debouch right at the gap. Um, One, the most obvious is Halter Creek. You could start up at Baker Summit and start holding that water on the hillside. And you might think, well, yeah, but it's got to get down to the water. You actually get more water if you use Bisses than less, because it catches the water. When you get a heavy rain, it catches the water and spreads it out and soaks it into the ground. And it never takes all the water. It always lets it keep going down. So you could have, you could have so many Bisses coming down Halter Creek, and the topography is so, the Spanish, Portuguese word is accidentada. I mean, the topography is so unusual and uneven that the Bisses would make fascinating paths along them. I mean, you could have a whole network of them there. That's Halter Creek. Now you could do the same thing with Plum Creek. You could start all the way up at Hollidaysburg, or no, not Hollidaysburg, Martinsburg. Start up in there and start Bisses coming down through Sharpsburg and on down Plum Creek. Again, it would be just fascinating, but that's kind of like a dream. You'd have to have a whole community realize that, oh, this is we can get people hiking and walking all over the place happily. You could also do it in Cabbage Creek that comes down, touches Roaring Spring, but then goes on down all of those. So Bisses, that's maybe a bit of a stretch, because I think Roaring Spring's decisions ahead of it and what it could be are more imminent. But if it became the tourist mecca that I think it will someday become, then those Bisses could just make endless satisfaction to hikers in that area. And I'm going to be talking about Renee and Osterberg, I think, in the very next video. Bye for now.